This is what we came for. The start of something new is on the rise. You'll see just what we're made of. Watch the revolution come alive. This is our world, this is our time. Can't stop us now.
This is absolute agony. I'd rather be around there watching the screens, I swear to God. I've got something a little bit different for you today. We're down at Linch Hill Fisheries and we've got the underwater cameras with us. It's something that I've been playing around with for a while and I've really got it to a T now. I've chosen to come on to Willow Lake, somewhere that I've not really done much time on over the years, but when I have done time on here, I always see them in the edge, so it felt like the perfect place to do it. The plan is to hopefully get some fish feeding on the camera and maybe even catch one, but at the very least I'm going to be looking at what the fish are doing, the way they're behaving around the rigs and bait, etc., and then apply that to what I'm doing out in the pond. The first thing I need to do is get the clip for the spot without putting the rig on first, because I'm fishing up to an overhanging tree. So I'm going to get that and then I'm going to go round, apply some baiting, I'll come back round and then try and get the rig on the spot as quickly and easy as possible. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to get the clip for this tree now. Now, the way I like to do this is nobody likes a hero, don't want to get in there first cast. So what I'll do is I'll put a cast out that's a bit short of the tree, probably a rod length, and then I can add to the clip afterwards. So the last thing I want to do is put this in the tree, and I've put loads of disturbance in the area already, so that's what I'm going to do now. He says. It's quite a tight little tricky cast really. So that's about, I'd say, 2 rod lengths short. So at least I can add to it now. And then I'll just work towards it. Whether it takes 3-4 casts, I'd rather do it this way than lose all my end tackle. So we've come round to the spot. Got to bait up first because I don't want to put the rig out and then obviously be out of the swim. So I've got to put the bait in first. And all I'm going to do, just put whole boilers. This is Krill Active. I'm going to put this on because what I have learn't over the weeks that I've been testing this, testing the cameras, is that anything cloudy really clouds up the lenses. So I wouldn't want you to miss out on what you're about to see, hopefully. So yeah, I'm going to put some bait in, just a few handfuls. Hopefully enough to entice them in, maybe get a bite. So, hopefully. Should be on the money. Sort of stash the cameras away under these trees here, so it doesn't affect us in the slightest. Hopefully the fish won't see it, but also the fish can't run into it because I'll be fishing locked up over there. Sweet. So now I've got the clip and put the bait in, I need to get the rig in as quick as possible just because I've created disturbance in the area. So obviously it makes sense to get the rig in there now. I'm going to do everything the same that I would usually do because that's the stuff that I want to see underwater, you know. If you're going to gain confidence or lose confidence in something that you're doing, it's to fish the way that you usually do. So yeah, I'm going in with a noodle. The only thing I am going to change is I'm going to fish a dumbbell wafter, but I'm going to put a white tipper on it just for a visual aid on the underwater cameras. Apart from that, everything's going to be exactly the same. Something I always use is a piece of dissolvable foam. I wrap it around the back of the hook and close it, and what's going to happen is it's going to come down, it'll sit sometimes for a minute or two, you know, I've tested it loads in the edge, and eventually it'll open up like a parachute and come off. What it does is it protects the hook point on the cast, you know, anti-tangle, but also when it gets down there and does come off, it's going to just flutter down nicely. Also in this case, it gives us a little bit of an advantage is if I do cast past the cameras, the boys can let me know and I can just tweak it back into shot and allow the rig to be perfect for us. Oh, I reckon that's good. So I've just been told the rig has felt absolutely perfect, so happy days with that. What I've done is I've moved myself into the swim now, real close to the rod. Obviously, fishing up near snags or anywhere around snags, you need to be on the rod. Got it locked up, just a little drop in the bobbin, just in case I do get any liners on the braid, don't want it to move the rig. And yeah, I've left myself a nice clear path behind me. I've got a good 2-3 rod lengths of walk back. And if I am to get a bite, which I hopefully do, I can pick that rod up and just walk straight back, get him anywhere away from them snags. The fish have just slowly starting to move back into the area. They were here before I started casting, but obviously that little bit of disturbance has pushed them out. But yeah, starting to see numbers of fish now. Hopefully there's a good chance of a bite. I wouldn't expect it so quick because the sun's really beating down on them. Obviously they're going to be in them upper ways, but as this sun starts to swing round and this becomes a shaded area, it could be game on. Right, that rod's gone. It took about an hour. Straight on it. Tried to kite for the snags, but walking back a couple of rod lengths straight away, and yeah, got her away from the snags. And this is out in mouth. What a buzz. It's definitely something about snag fishing. It just gives you that much more adrenaline. It's got to be so switched on. It's not like out in the pond. One wrong move can cost you. Get it. First one on the underwaters. Happy days. is 27.14. Now, how's about that for a start on the underwater? Do apologise for the racket behind us. Not too sure what they're up to, but yeah, couldn't have asked for a better start. That's why we come to Willow. Absolute bangers. Yeah, I don't think I've really got to change much for my night plans. Everything I've done so far has worked. Gonna get him back. It is really warm, so yeah. Chris and you, the underwater fish. And here's the other side. Absolutely buzzing with this. What a way to get off. It's a flying start. Come on, girl. Yes. Willow's Oxfordshire gravel pit. It's about 6 or 7 acres in size, about 100, 120 fish. And some of the fish are, well, they're all amazing, but there's some that just go missing for long periods of time. A fish called Tango's in here that's done £40, went missing for about 5-6 years. Some really big commons that now do £40. Got the halfling, which is pretty much the history fish that does £40. Really nice fish. The lake itself's got loads of great features really. It's got an island, it's got loads of snaggy margins, deep open water and shallow bars as well. But it's more the deep snaggy margins that we're tapping into, and that's why it really makes it great for a project like this. Now that the rod's out of the water, it seems like the perfect opportunity to talk to you about my setup. Basically what I'm using is the Thinking Anglers braid straight through to a leader. I like to use braid in all aspects of my fishing generally, especially snag fishing. You know, you've got to be using braid. You know, it's really safe and strong, and also to get them fish away from the snags. You don't want any stretch in the line. And then yeah, I'm down to a fluorocarbon leader. It's about 2 rod lengths. Generally, I say about 2 rod lengths. The way it is it's 2 turns on the spool while casting. So you want, I use a back-to-back grinner knot, and when I'm casting, so I've got my 6-foot drop, I've got 2 turns of fluoro on the spool. You don't want too much on there because it just becomes too frappy. So you want that knot pretty much straight off the spool on the cast. And if you were to have it any shorter than that and the knot wasn't on the spool, it really puts strain on that knot. So with the fluorocarbon, I use 0.50 as a minimum really. It's really heavy, really strong and durable, sinks like a brick, and also it's nice and thick, just so there's no chance of lifting any scales if you're using anything too thin. So yeah, it's really safe and, like I say, really strong. I've got 3 tungsten droppers slid up the line. They're spaced out about 1.5 to 2 feet apart, and I wrap them with putty. What that does is it just ensures that that last 6 foot is really just pinned down. You know, I've got to know that it's down, so I'm not picking up any liners and things like that. You know, I've seen fish from when I'm watching them from the trees pick up that line with their nose and they are straight off, so I've got to know that it's real pinned down and invisible as well. After that, lead clip system, anti-tangle sleeve and a noodle. You know, I've got the wafter just literally kicking away. If a bird picks up or a fish comes in and does the rigging or anything, it's resetting. All I've got to do now, put a fresh rigging up bait on, wrap it up, and also it's worth mentioning I always stretch my fluorocarbon leaders off. What I mean by that is I wind it down to put the knot onto the spool. I'll put my reel handle behind one of my wrap sticks and stretch that leader just to take all the twist out of it, because once you're winding in and playing fish and that, it'll get twists. And at the same time, what you're also doing is checking that end tackle. You know, if you pull it, I've had it a few times where I've pulled it and it's gone because it's picked up a nick in the end tackle, you know. And if you're going to pick up a nick in your line or anything, it's going to be in that last sort of couple of rod lengths where fish have gone through weed or it's been lay on some gravel or something like that. So yeah, give it a nice stretch, straighten it out, and it just ensures it just all sits nice and flat as opposed to curve. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get the rig back out once I put a fresh one on, and yeah, see if we can get another carp. Had a couple of casts gone astray, and I've just been told there's a big common on the spot now, actually sucking around the lead that just discharged. So yeah, I'm just waiting for confirmation that I can cast out. And yeah, this is the frustration of casting up to a tree, you know. To be fair, there's a couple of casts that I would have left. Probably the first one I would have left had it been in a normal fishing situation. However, trying to get it real on the camera so we can all see what's going on there. So wait for confirmation. Finally got it done. Took a few casts, but here's what it is. There's been disturbance in the area with the fish, so it's not too bad. Hopefully I haven't spooked that big common off. One thing I've always learnt with the braid is you've got to be real careful, not only settling your line, but tightening down to it, especially when you're fishing up to snags on to gravel. I always just trap the line here with my fingers, tighten down, then release it, just in case of human error. That's about right there. Any little movement on that braid and it will get dragged, but always put that little drop in the bobbin, just in case I get a little liner or anything. I'm good to go. This rod's been out for a few hours now and it's really quieting down action-wise. I spoke to the lads, there's been the odd one ghosting through, but it really does tell me that the fish have started to move out. Quite possibly the pressure of the catching the fish and the casting, but maybe just because the sun's not hitting them snags anymore and maybe they've followed out with the sun. Who knows? But what I do know is it's a good chance to have a good lead up and get some rods out for the night. I'm going to fish in the open water, and yeah, we're going to bring the margin rod in just because it is a situation where you need to be up on the rod. I don't feel it's safe at all to be fishing that rod at night. So yeah, I'll probably put some bait in though, see how it goes tonight, see if it's all still there in the morning and what have you. But yeah, plan is now, have a little lead up, try and find some out. I do know from past experience that there's a raised area out here somewhere. Not 100% sure where it is, but I'm sure we'll find it. So that's what we're going to do now. Have a little lead up, see what we can find. There's definitely a raised area out here. It's not that far, 40, 50 yards max. I'm definitely down the back of it there. Probably about 17, 18 foot at the back, I'd say. Just starting to feel a little bit of gravel there. It's a bit soft. Right, there we go. That's the bottom of the shelf there, so I'm going to put a clip on that. Definitely coming up the back of the shelf. You can tell by the resistance on the tip. Definitely resistance. Still coming up. Then now, there. That's the top of the plateau. Tell the resistance, just the led's just floating straight towards me. I think I'm probably gonna fish a little bit down the back of the What's the chances? Just doing the leading up and it's gone. It's definitely a carp as well. Feels like a powerful fish this. Whoa. Surge. No. Yes. Finally. Look at him. Definitely an angry little male. Put a good account for himself, didn't he? Stunner. We're just literally doing the wedding sequence, getting a spot sorted for tonight. And this one sprung up. Proper pretty little fish. I think it's time to get him back, get that wedding finished up, get the rods out, and must be have a barbecue. Before we're rudely interrupted, got myself all nice and wet. Just going to finish this wedding off real quick. Need to get a clip for coming up that shelf. So that's definitely back of the shelf. Good rod length of shelf there. Then bang, she's on the top there, so take 6 foot off. I reckon that's about right. Definitely shallower there. About 3 foot down that ledge, I reckon that is. Happy days. Wrap that up. Get the rods wrapped up, rigs on. Bait that spot. Barbecue on. Gonna give him a good hit. Feeder tench, birds, roach, carp. Hopefully it's all gone in the morning. I decided to fish one on a normal dumbbell as I would. But because I was fishing that white tipper in there, although I did say I was only doing it as a visual aid for the cameras, it seemed that the fish, after watching the footage back, really sort of honed in on it. So I'm sort of going to try it out in the pond for the night and fish it against just a dumbbell on its own. See which one produces, if any, or both. Really happy with how today's gone, honestly. To catch a fish on the underwater, you know, it's my first one I've ever caught, and what a fish it was. I'm really happy with how them rods have gone out as well. 2 casts, and put about 10 bombs over the top, not too much. Yeah, now we're just going to kick back, have a barbie, and yeah, we'll be up at first light, hopefully, with some fish to show you. Well, it's morning, and as nights go, it's pretty quiet on the fish front anyway. Around about 1:30, started getting a load of savage liners. So much so, I started to question whether something was wrong. I could hear a few subtle shows out there, and I was definitely starting to think, it's something to do with my line layer, something that the liners just weren't right. And then when I got up this morning, it was pretty evident it was the rud, and there was a few 10 showing over the spot, and eventually I did end up picking one up as well. It's a really good rud. Probably about 3.5 pound, but not what we're after. Today, the plan is to get this rod back on the snag. In a normal situation, because I've seen quite a few carp showing out around the island and that today, I probably would move into that area, but we're trying to lock this swim down for the underwater footage. And yeah, that's what we're going to do today. It's pretty evident yesterday that the fish started to turn up on that sun along that tree line, so we're going to get the rig in nice and early before the fish turn up, and hopefully get another bite. I've been told by the lads that all the bait's gone, so yeah, we're going to have to get some more bait in first, and then I'll get that rod straight in there. So that's what we're going to do now. So I just snuck round there to put some bait in, and there was actually a fish ghosting over the spot, so we're going to get this rig in as quick as we can. We're going to keep end tackle wise all the same, but baiting I have changed it up a bit. I've gone for 20mm actives, and I've put some tiger nut in there, mainly just to see how that reacts with the tench and the birds as well, trying to keep them off, trying to keep bait in the area for longer periods of time, and just see the reaction to it as well. You know, it is something that I do in my own fishing, using nut and boilie together, so I want to see how the fish react to it out in the pond. Casting to this camera has been really tricky. You know, it's not easy. There's loads of casts that I've put out that I would have left, you know, but with this underwater camera, I know I've got to be inch perfect. You know, I've had some that have hit the clip, gone down with a crack, and I would have left it. However, it's got to be perfect to get on the cameras. It's quite an hard cast because you've got overhanging trees. Although it doesn't look like it from the swim, the trees are sort of coming out over the tall trees, so you really have to punch it in, and you've got to have your rod at the perfect angle. At the minute it's about a 45-degree angle, and you've got to kiss that clip there. If you were to let your rod go further forward, you'd be in them trees. Come on now. Wonder cast. That's perfect. That is perfect, I know it is. Apparently I'm a god. I was a nod, now I'm a god. 3 casts, so I'm happy with that. That ain't an easy cast. Basically, what's happening is the rig's sat up with the foam on. They don't know which way it's going to fall, either on screen or off screen, so it's all waiting on that. Still got it in the clip, and there's a potential 40-pound common feeding right near the rig. Come on, foam. This is absolute agony. I'd rather be around there watching the screens, I swear to God. Oh, I need to know what's going on. But yeah, that was horrible. The rig's in, it's dropped, it's fishing, fish have come back in. Waiting game now. Apparently, all the bait has been smashed and they've been coming back in. So hopefully, if they do come in, there's only pretty much up bait left. I'm sure there's probably a few little bits and bobs, you know, that active obviously leaks off and little bits of tiger, but hopefully they just single out that up bait and game on with that big common. Oh, it's in, kind of. Oh. The net's trapped. There we go. Best netting ever, but in is in. I'll take that. That was stressful, but brilliant. The art was, oh God, I'm so glad it went in the net anyway. But yeah, I've been told, been cleaned out massively. So what I'm going to do is going to get the lads just to throw some bait in while I deal with this fish. I'm going to get him out. He's had a mega fight, so he's just chilling there now. Let him have a little chill, and then yeah, we'll get him out and have a look. They are absolutely smashing out there. What, that rod's been out 10 minutes. Some big fish been in there as well, I'm being told, so we want to get that rig back in. Hopefully utilise this morning period. It's clear that they're in there in the morning and drift out in the evening, so it's exactly what we're going to do now. Time to get this rig back in now. Do apologise for the crosser in the background. He's decided to come out for a raz. It's a nice day for it though, can't blame him. Hopefully it doesn't spook the fish off though. We've decided, because the fish are just in the swim and that foam last time took a long time to dissolve, possibly could have cost us bites, you know. So what I'm going to do is going to try casting it without a foam, and this could potentially, I'm going to see how the rig settles down and that. I'll watch the footage back myself, and if it does kick away nice, could be something I take into my own fishing. If I'm fishing for quick bites, don't put the dissolvable foam on, but we'll see how it responds. That feels good. Felt good. I'm hearing it's perfect. Might have heard it for yourself. I'm really impressed with how the fish are responding to the Krill Active on the underwater cameras. It's been great to see, you know, the fish come in, they're dispersed outer coating, it gets it going through the rakers. They've been competitive feeding, they're actively seeking it out. It's great to see, just because it gives you massive confidence that that's what's going on out in the pond. Even when there's no bait left, you see them coming in, they're rooting around, it's like they're trying to find it. It's obviously the outer coating where it's dispersed between the gravel. They're just coming back and trying to actively seek it out. So basically what's happened is I've been getting a couple of liners and being told that they're spooking on the spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the tip up and trying to get a bit more drop in that bobbin. Might even switch the bobbin over to a bit of a lighter one, just to try and get that leader really down, because what it is the spot's a bit bold. So you imagine the lead sat there and the line's picking up, because we're on a high ground, that's down in low ground, so I'm just trying to adjust it now. So I've just heard that I've been done, which I fail to believe, but apparently the rig has reset perfectly, which I do believe. It happens, but at least I know the rig's reset and it's still fishing there. We were just debating whether to put some more bait in. By all accounts, they've cleared it all up, which is quite surprising considering I put loads in. Saying loads, good fair few handfuls not long ago. Must have really been in there chowing it. Apparently that rig got done twice before I got the bite, which is good to know in a way. Obviously, yeah, you don't want to get done. It's good to know that your rig's resetting and still live and dangerous. There she is. Absolutely immaculate common. First common of the trip as well. Made up with this one. 27.6 it was. right scrap. But I think the plan is now we're just going to bait the swim, not put a rig in, because they were clearly just coming in after the bait, clearing it out, but now they're definitely not turning up as much, you know, they don't seem as confident in the area, so I'm going to put some bait in, hopefully get them back in the zone, feeding confidently, and then maybe think about getting a rig back in there. So yeah, that's the plan now. Gonna get some bait in there now. From what I'm hearing from the lads, this one was microscopical compared to that big one that's been in there, so go and get your big brother, eh? Get in. There's always an added element of pressure when you're putting your rig live in front of the underwater cameras, but I've been really impressed with how the noodle rigs perform. One of the main things has been the resetting properties of it. Even when I took that dissolvable foam off, it's still footed away nicely. When there's been disturbance in the area, it's footed away as well. You know, you need to know these things are going on out in the pond. You've got to have that confidence in your mind. For me, a semi-stiff material is the way to go. This is the cam stiff in £25. The reason I go for a semi-stiff material as opposed to something supple or too stiff is because if you are fishing over any sort of debris or soft silt, you know, anything too stiff is really going to stick up abruptly coming out of the anti-tangle sleeve. Another thing I've been really impressed with is the size 4 curve points. Not that I ever doubted them, I've caught loads of fish on them over the years. Every fish that we've caught has been absolutely nailed, and I've been putting a lot of pressure on them, you know, using the braid, again snags, we're giving it loads to get them away from there just for their own safety, and they've all been landed perfectly. And yeah, I'm going to get this one out there now. It's either a tench or a rud. Oh, it's come off. I was just changing the marker for over and he's gone. I only catches big carp with this rig. Still razor. Yeah, it must just be the smallmouth. I was just changing over to marker folk to get the rod sorted for tonight because there's been no action for the last half an hour carp wise anyway. So might as well do that now. Perfect timing. Pick something. All I'm going to do now is I want to find out where this plateau levels out. Basically last night, if you remember, I fished down the shelf at the back, but because of them liners that I was getting, I want to sort of figure out where it levels out and fish there for tonight. And that's why I did that. Like I said yesterday, if I were to have fished on the shelf, on the top of the plateau last night, I'd be fishing through my old bait tonight, wouldn't I? So it just gives me that option. So that's what I'm going to do. Just going to get a depth for that clip. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Another clip there. 11, 12, 13, 14. Right, it's 14 there. Pretty sure it levels out somewhere around the 13. So I'm halfway up. Back to that. And give it, what? That's about 6 foot of pullback, 8 foot maybe. And go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 13 there. So just give it another few feet just to check that it is levelled out and not still coming up. There's the lead. There. Give it about 3-4 foot there. If it's 13, then we've got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. Just try another 6 feet, see if it levels out. That definitely feels like it's really skimming. So I think I've got it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Come on, catch me up. 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Right. So I reckon take about a rod length off that. Put the clip on. I reckon we're probably about right on that 12-13 foot. Yep, I reckon that is on the top of that plateau. Hopefully, 12 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. Let's tighten that down to the lead and get that clip there. Lovely. Really good day today, but definitely noticed that them fish got in the morning until the afternoon and it sort of died off. So I'm going to try and get that third rod out. Just going to put 2 on this spot again tonight. So I'll get the third rod out on the bush as early as possible. As soon as we've got light on them cameras, I'm going to get it in, get it baited, and hopefully get an early bite. But also I'm going to leave them open water rods, these 2 that are going out now, I'm going to leave them out. Because I did notice as the fish came in, saw a couple show on my spot. So might even be a chance on that deeper water before they get in that shallow water. So I'm going to get these rods out, get the bait out, and hopefully we've got a fish in the morning. But I'm definitely feeling confident for that tree line again tomorrow. 33.8. Buzzing. What a way to start the day that is. 33 pound 8 ounce, proper made up. The lads have been on the cameras and all the bait that I put in last night is gone. So it seems like the perfect time to get that rod in. But yeah, first, got to admire this one. Just them little slight change in tactics from yesterday, come up that shelf onto the top, a little bit of bait, all the same. It's made a difference. Absolutely buzzing. Look at unreal. Come on, girl. Absolutely buzzing with that. I can't help but feel like this chance is going. I mean, there's a duck over me. 2 ducks. They don't even want to go down. I've got so much to take away from this session. It's been brilliant. I wouldn't say it was so much that I've learned, it was more confirmations of what I already knew. But there was definitely things that I picked up that I'm going to be taking into my own fishing. Things like, with the Krill Active, I was made up with how the fish responded to that as a whole. But also, putting in the 20 millers instead of the 16s definitely seemed to keep bait in the swim for a lot longer. You know, the tension were coming down clearly, having a go for them, and they were just taking off that outer coating each time and then putting bait back down onto the spot. Again, activating that spot at the same time. Also, the noodle's done everything that I knew it to do. You know, I've used that rig for years, especially in the edges. I've seen it do exactly what it was doing out in the pond. That confirmation to know that it works just exactly the same is great. You know, the resetting properties of it. It doesn't catch many tench. You know, a lot of tench do spit it out. It's just the elongated almost mechanics of it. It needs a real big suck and blow to nail them bigger fish. But the smaller fish definitely, it's a short, sharp action, the suck and blow, and the mechanics don't kick in quick enough. I was also really surprised by how often I was having to reapply bait. You know, it's not something that I would generally do. You know, obviously, if I saw them clean it out, I would end up doing it. But I couldn't believe the amount of volume I was using. But also, using that amount of bait in one sitting in the edge isn't something that I would generally do. It'd always be bits and bobs, you know, little broken baits, broken nuts and that. So it's definitely something I'm going to be taking forward in my fishing. One thing I was really surprised by was how long the dissolvable foam took to come off sometimes. Like it was so unpredictable, and fishing for quick bites, you can't have that foam sticking up there. Obviously the fish clearly aren't going to take it with that foam on, so definitely going to take that into my own fishing as well. If I'm fishing for quick bites, no dissolvable foam, I'm able to rely on the mechanics. It was nice to be able to put a cast out without the foam and the rig still kicked away, you know, it wasn't tangled, things like that, so that is definitely going with me. One of the biggest confirmations was the braid, the response of it. You know, I was getting word from the lads that there was fish in the zone or a potential bite, and bang, you know, I'd get that reaction on the bobbin straight away. It's good to know that you're getting instant reaction, you know, and even, obviously I'm going to automatically look at the bobbin as soon as I'm hearing that there's something going on, and to see the bobbin just twitch up and know that's the shake of the head of the carp, you know, that just gives you massive confidence that anything that goes on with that rig and lead system, you know about it. And lastly, I've really enjoyed it. At first, it was definitely a lot of pressure, you know, to know that everything's going to be almost scrutinised by myself as well. But then to get the confirmation that everything's working, what I thought was going on is going on, I am absolutely buzzing, and it's definitely something I'll be doing again. Well, That's it, unfortunately. All the fish are clearly on the surface. In normal circumstances, I would definitely be getting the mixers out, but we've come here to get fish feeding underwater, and that's exactly what we've done. I've had a mega session, and topped off by that linear. Wow, I am absolutely buzzing. But now it's time to hit the road.